Is it possible? We see that Finland has been successful, so we need your role model. Can we do the same? Is it possible?
It's up to you.
Thank you. Okay.
It is possible. So thank you. I'm really grateful to be here, and thank you, Sidley, for allowing me to present what we have done in Finland and where we are going for. There are a lot of implications to previous presentations. Actually, I talked with Alvar that I almost put the same slide than Alvar did. And I will show the same numbers again. You can try to remember now what were the numbers that European Union is aiming for. But because they are important numbers, but who knows the how? Well, that's another question. So my name is Aleksi Salo. I'm the CEO of Mining Finland. We are a cluster for technology and service providers in Finland, and we mainly do investment promotion. So why I'm here is I was previously in GTK as an account manager or so I've been doing this kind of talks and strategy work since my time in GTK for the last 6 years. But I now present for last 3 months Mining Finland. So I will start with some history on our previous mineral strategy in 2010. Then we put up a vision of that Finland would be a global leader in sustainable utilization of mineral resources, and the mineral sector is one of the key foundations of the Finnish national economy. That was our goal for 2050, set on 2010. And the motivation for this strategy back then was that we were seeing a lot of mining projects and investments coming in, a lot of exploration accelerated. And we knew, of course, that we had a big technology and service cluster already for decades in Finland, but we wanted to elaborate that more. We wanted growth from that. That was the motivation in 2010. A situation that a lot of investments coming in, and we needed to react somehow and have a clear view on where are we actually going with all of these mines opening up at the same time. There was at least 6 or 7 opening in 4 years window, of which at least 2 went bankrupt, but that's another story. But they reopened, both of them. Another opened at least 4 times after that. But that's business. Okay, so from mining, what do you need for mining projects? It was actually really good in, for example, in Alvar's presentation and in your national exploration strategy, that you of course need to have the mineral potential. You need to have the certain geological parameters in place that there is actually something to mine and something to process. And you need to build up on your existing strength in your nation, like we did, that we have the potential, we have the research, we have the technology. So we wanted to build up on that, because that's much easier than to invent something new. And of course, it's not just the mineral potential. Like you know from physics, that potential energy is something that sits up here, and it has a potential to fall and create some, or to disperse that energy. But you need to push it. It needs something to put it into motion, and that needs also other factors than not just the geology. You go around the world and you hear that this and that country and region, we have a huge mineral potential, but there are no roads. There are no power lines. There's like no mining-related education in that region or country. But they have the potential, and they go around advertising that we have the potential. Come here and invest. But that's if you look at the big companies, if they do the risk matrices, everything is on red. No investments. And energy is really important, actually. And another key factor is, I will show in later slides where is this based on, is the availability of digital geological data and gathering of new data with new methods. I am arguing constantly with the mining authority that is it the regulation or is it the data which is more important, but I'm kind of losing that argument, since if you still have the data, you have the best geological survey in the world, but then your authority would be corrupt or slow, or the process would take 2 years to get an exploration license, it doesn't matter anymore. So it's first regulation, then data, then everything else comes after that. And at GTK, they did a study on value of gathered geological data that is fully available at GTK website. And the value is about 1.3 billion euros. And that means that if you would do all the research now, starting today, it would cost 1.3 billion to gather that data again. That's how valuable it is. Okay, and investment attractiveness index in Europe, Finland is still on top, a bit before Sweden and Norway. But if you look at, in general, Europe sucks against Canada and Australia as an exploration and mining investment area, except for Finland and Sweden. Okay, so about data. Accessibility to data is really important. So again, you might have the data, but then again, if you don't distribute it or utilize it or make new products or with AI or machine learning methods with it, then it has no real value. And one of the most important things GTK has been doing since forever is gathering the drill core material and at the sample storage near 1 hour from Helsinki. And not just drill core, but about 2.5 million of till and other geochemical samples. And all of those are fully available for anyone, the scientific community or exploration companies, mining companies to go and look at. And we've also had, or GTK has had companies also studying them for method development as well in recent years. And the catch is it's rather cheap to go there, rent some time, and accommodate yourself, but the catch is that GTK gets all the data you create. If you do analysis, you have to deliver the analytical results to GTK. So this means that companies who come in, they do their studies, they create new data for Finland. And this is kind of one of the motivations is this, at the exploration, someone mentioned the success ratio. Was it you? Or someone mentioned that only 1 out of 1,000 is successful. So in my opinion and how Finland thinks is that if there is a way to make that success rate better or kind of help those exploration investments, then let's do it. And this is a cheap and easy way to do it. And it's actually even less than 0.1%. If you look at, I think it was 2,000 exploration projects in Finland in last 15 years and maybe 1 or 2 discoveries. So if you look at past of the histories that we've had these state-owned mining companies, Outokumpu, Rautaruukki, very famous. They even had international mining. Rautaruukki was for iron, Outokumpu was for nickel, zinc, and cobalt, copper. But Outokumpu then eventually went for steel, and Rautaruukki was sold to SSAB to Sweden. And GTK was practically the 4th or 3rd big exploration operator in Finland. So the state-owned survey did exploration work, creating new deposits, new data, determining even the dimensions and nature and even the mineral resources until here. And I will let you think about for a second that what happened here first and then what happened here, what enabled these numbers. So you can maybe form your own idea and I will then in a minute tell you. Okay, the first line here is, I think it was the membership in European Union that the law had to change so that foreign companies can come and invest and can claim land in Finland. So there was a law change forced by the European Union. So foreign investments went a bit up, but what happened here was digitalization of geological data, making it available to be downloaded, or not downloaded, but we had this, anyone remember memory sticks? We used to bring memory sticks to presentations. So we shared these memory sticks on conferences. And people got the free data, and then they, of course, there was some data already then which was for buying and for licensing. And then they got that, and whoopsie daisy, we got a ton of private investments to exploration and mining. But digital data, I don't know actually what happened. I tried to figure out this history, but apparently it was so that some had the idea that everything now will go digital, and they forced every government agency that you need to digitalize your thing. And of course, a common researcher at GTK at 95 was like, oh, I just want to go and look at the rocks. But they were forced to digitalize, and they just started to do something. So someone might think that this was a plan, but it was just, things happened. and there was no strategy or anything implemented here. It was just digitalization, and the result was maybe unforeseen. That's how I know it. The story might be different. If you find some retired person from GTK data management, please ask how it really went down. Okay, so this is borrowed from Mining Authority. So this is just also to emphasize the amount of investments going into exploration since beginning of 2000, up to almost 100 million here, and the top 94 million in 2 years ago. And this was the recession time, you can see it here. But also Finland catched up much better than the global average after the recession. But there is a but here, which is that the practically big part of this investments, it's exploration near mine, not generating new targets. And that is a problem in long term. You need to be able to generate new targets, new discoveries, new deposits, so that you would have investments in the pipeline in the future. And yeah, the drilling meters, it's about almost 200 kilometers of drilling in Finland in 23. So you can imagine what kind of ecosystem of contracting, exploration services, laboratories, consulting, what else is existing. One of the biggest employers in the city of Rovaniemi in Lapland is a drilling contractor. They have about 200 persons working just on drilling. And one of the fastest growing consultancies is Exploration Consultant, who bought a bankruptcy material, all the shovels and stuff, bought them for like 10,000 euros. Now they have like 150 employers in 10 years' time. So it's a good growth. But the issue is that there is little grassroots exploration. So we have this green field, so you have a target and you develop that target to be a bit better. But this is too small, the grassroots, like generating new ones. And if you look at last 10 years, there has been only one new discovery. Yes, one new discovery based on all of these 1,000 licenses. And that's why I'm saying there's too few exploration. Oh, and one more thing is, which element is the most explored, which goes most of the exploration in Finland? Is it maybe some critical raw material, nickel, copper, rare earth was mentioned here, maybe it's that. It's gold. 90% of all of that money goes to exploration of gold. So gold is in a sense critical because it creates the ecosystem for exploration. I've been trying to justify that how do you justify it? But practically gold creates that ecosystem, which then enables also that other exploration. Okay, just to show a few numbers then, I have only 1 minute left. Let's see, if you're interested, I will go longer. Just that the mining went up. Here was some bankruptcies in nickel mining, but then they ramped up in 2018. But these are the result of that exploration boom around here, that mines were open in 2010. So to have all these deposits or occurrences or data available on battery minerals, for example, it creates this ecosystem around it of mines and different downstream manufacturing of chemicals or battery cells. And the value added is of course important. You have the lithium concentrate is about $770, but lithium hydroxide is $10,000. These are old numbers, but the ratio is the same. And the energy thing. So if you think about, you have a smelter or chemical plant, they need a lot of energy. So if you look at energy prices in the Nordics, we are getting some big investments hopefully in the next years. So energy is rather vital to get these energy intensive investments. And a lot of this energy is renewable, which is then again the owners want things to be renewable and green. I put this picture because I was in somewhere here giving this presentation, and it's more drastic even there. Okay, so now the vision is more or less the same. We updated the mineral strategy last year. We still want to be the global pioneer, new technologies, partner, develop of minerals, and the mineral cluster increases the value in Finland. And strategically important is mentioned here. But I don't think we yet have not set up what these actually are, these strategically important. So these are the headlines of the strategy, like the key areas of the current valid strategy. So it's growth, responsibility, research and development, international partnerships, effective implementation of the Critical Raw Materials Act, including the National Exploration Program you had as well, and a strong raw material supply for our industry. And you know these numbers by heart already. 10, 40, 25, 65. So now that someone calls you tomorrow, you will remember this. You've seen this 3 times. But how do we get here? That's a question. So about the National Exploration Program, we have also done it, but I would rather let GTK go into details because it's their business. But we have selected some key areas which in GTK's opinion, they lack data. We know that there is lithium here, but we have insufficient data to determine how vast the lithium potential area actually is. And also here is lithium potential, but we don't know why. And then nickel and copper region, which is underexplored, and also very interesting schist belts, which are similar to Zambian copper belt. But you can find this in the GTK report archive if you want to look at it. It's in more detail. So about putting this mineral strategic mining investments in motion, this is one way to put it, that you need to have these 3 pinpoints of research, technology, and downstream manufacturing. Mining is just one part of the equation. And to support that, for example, in Finland, the government has put 70 million euro investment to mineral processing pilot plant for GTK, the Geological Survey of Finland. So we will have a very high-level mineral processing test site, which can be utilized globally. Well, a few years back, all the government investments and ownership in mineral and mining assets were formed under one company called Finnish Minerals Group, which has battery chemical production and mining, lithium mining, and one asset on rare earths and carbonates, and it has everything. It's a carbonatite pipe or a carbonatite deposit. So these are one of the strategic that government thinks that Finland should have state ownership in these kind of projects. And of course, Business Finland has it's a research and development fund organization and also business development organization. But they had a break that they didn't have mining and minerals in the strategy, but now it's under security, practically security and defense. The minerals are there, which is good, and they can support research and development. And of course, we have dedicated universities for mining and geoscience. And then some bottlenecks. As I emphasized, there is not enough exploration. The drilling is done mainly on known targets researched by GTK or the state companies. So we need new discoveries, so we would have mining investments in the next decades. The government introduced a mineral tax model, which is unfortunately not a good model for taxation, since it practically deepens the deficit. The company has to pay it even if they don't make a profit. So that means that it would increase the cut-off for a mineral deposit, meaning that they can mine less material profitably, which from a geologist point of view doesn't make any sense. But we are hoping to see maybe next year they will fix it. Of course, there are political challenges from old mines that were not closed properly in the 70s and 80s. So every time there's a mining or exploration project, these old mines that have acid mine drainage or other environmental problems, they always pop up in the news that will this happen again? And then, of course, a lot of this exploration and some of the mining companies are owned by Canadian or Australian companies, and the lithium mine in Western Finland is 80% owned by a South African company. So this is kind of the question that who will benefit from all of these mining activities, since many times these downstream and supporting consulting technology activities, they are not visible for the common people or a voter, for example. So these affect the public perception, and thus they affect the politics as well. And kind of the story that mining is bad is now winning at this time, but I'm maybe hoping to see in 10 to 15 years that we will again see that maybe mining is good. The story will win. Let's see. So it doesn't matter how many times I would show these percentages or the EU needs or whatever facts to public. It doesn't matter at all. We need to have a better story. And for our Estonian friends, some encouraging words in the end. You have a really challenging exploration environment with the overburdening sedimentary layer. So that's why gathering data and utilizing the existing data and material is really important. For mining or discoveries, the depth or the thickness of the sedimentary layer, that's not a problem. If you look at the graph, it shows the depth of discovery of major copper deposits in last decades or last 120 years. So you can see that the discovery depth for many important big deposits has been 400, 600 meters even, which is less than about 50% of your overburdening sediments. And also one of the major discoveries done in Finland, the Sakatti deposit, the discovery hole was drilled to depth of 500 meters. And that is something you can compare to. So what I want to say is look auf, which is a miner's well-wishing for everyone. So look auf Estonia in your adventure in finding the next Escondida. Thank you.
Aplaus. Nii, küsimused, kes see haigutab nii suure suuga seal? Küsimused? Aha, väga hea.
Hyvä.
Thank you very much for this very useful presentation. We have heard this day several times that the targets set by the Critical Materials Act, they are not achievable for the EU. But how would you comment, which of these targets are achievable for Finland?
For Finland?
Yes.
Well, if you look at the certain critical raw materials, Finland is producing quite a bit of the European needs already. So at least to some extent we are there. So we need to lower the production if we want to get to the target. But that's not what you were asking. As I said, we need new discoveries. There are some of the projects are in pipeline. And I think one of the most important things is to kind of get these projects going forward. And so I maybe tried to imply, and it was maybe implied in one of the opening talks that there needs to be a kind of what are we actually doing with this mineral strategy? Which of these mines and which of this value added is important? And then the targets become achievable when you kind of start to have a roadmap that where are you actually going.
Veel mõni küsimus? Jaa, David.
Yes, thank you. Great presentation, really useful. Mining Finland, mining Estonia. And I keep hearing these different countries and different strategies and I'm sitting here and thinking, why are we not talking Nordic plus Baltic together and cooperating and collaborating? Because when I heard Tiit talking about I need 9.1 million euros, oh my God, next to my house in Holland, we built a bicycle tunnel under the freeway. Guess what? It cost 9.1 million euros for a bicycle tunnel, 20 meters long. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I hear...
That must be a great bicycle tunnel.
You come to Holland, everything's really expensive. But my point is, together, and we keep going, oh, the whole European Union, 27 member states, oh, this is ridiculous. But now I look, and maybe it's because I'm an outsider, and I look Nordic, Baltic, why can't we get that together? You all understand each other historically, you understand each other, you understand Estonian geology, they understand you. Why can't we get this together? I don't know, maybe you've got some ideas.
Was there a question somewhere?
No.
Yeah. Actually, there was a presentation, the first one. Yes, I was thinking they were looking for feedstock for the mine. So of course there are smaller rare earth deposits. There's one project in Finland, for example, which would be producing rare earth bearing material from old tailings, mine tailings. So mine waste would be, I trust they are already talking to these guys, but we just don't know it. But you know, this kind of a Baltic or Baltic Sea hub of raw materials is something that it's, of course, in my opinion, important to discuss. But of course, each country is also competing for the same investments. So, and then inside country, there are regions and they are competing each other on these investments. But
they don't do that in the United States.
Yeah.
They don't do that in China.
Yeah, because United States sends the police to the state if they... But that was a joke. I hope you can laugh now.
Anyone else?
I want to make a comment on the bicycle lane. 100 million to exploration. It sounds a lot, but is it a lot? It's not a lot. If you would double it, would you make new discoveries? Maybe, because then the companies would have maybe more resources. There will be more boots on the ground, more analysis done, more drilling. Another example is, which I like to use, that they built this trash furnace to make energy. Exact cost is 94 million euros. The same amount they put in exploration, which provides more value to the economy. One number I want to drop is that the value of geological data gathered is the 1.3 billion, and the value of mineral sector in Finland is about 15 billion a year. The minerals, if you put mines and the technology and the smelting and some of the chemical industry together, it's 15 billion. Of total of, let's say, 10 million euros per year for that 130 years this work has been done. So that's the yield if you invest in minerals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aleksi.